Oh my god. They are actually doing it. Yep, you read that correctly. Bungie said they're working on a more PvE-oriented content in the future. For a start, let's set some realistic expectations. I seriously doubt Bungie had PvE on the back burner and is just now revealing it. So the scope will most likely start out small, but will expand later down the line. My big question is, can it work? We are not jumping into Destiny-like raids just yet. I'm guessing for a start, it'll be something extremely linear, such as load in parameter, take data card from overflow to north relay while looting around and being chased by UESC, for example. That seems like something that looks the most feasible in early stages of PvE mode, since the assets are there and you can just adjust the numbers of AI enemies on the map. But later down the line, I'm hoping we could be dealing with totally open maps or maybe raid-like objectives to solve. Think cryo but less bubble shields. So how do we make it challenging but fun? PvE difficulty should not come from the enemies themselves, but from the so-called war of attrition. The UESC slowly but surely drain your resources while you try to complete the objective. Each point of interest should have more difficult enemies. So if you either didn't prepare well or used too many resources on the previous fight, well, you gotta adapt how you're gonna take on the next engagement. At the points of interest, there can be loot and some supplies, so you have to communicate with your team who needs what and redistribute stuff accordingly. And the map for this first experimental queue should be Dire Marsh. It's perfect due to the size and the volume of points of interest, and the map is very dynamic in terms of gameplay. So what about the AI enemies? How do we make them hurt? To pose a significant threat to the player, they have to feel like the AI can match them in a fight or even outperform them. People keep saying AI is stupid, they're just bullet sponges so they're boring to fight. Well, Helldivers 2 bots are pretty one-dimensional. Marathon's AI at least takes cover if you shoot at it, and if you get too close, they bounce you around like a fucking beach ball. AI doesn't need to be complex to be difficult. Just throw more of them. Or try making it more fun. Maybe the UESC sniper can go invisible and one-shot down you. Isn't that pretty close to a PvP experience? Also, just the sheer fact you could get sniped by an invisible enemy in the bushes is a terrifying yet pretty exciting thought. The AI in its current form works as an alarm bell to signal everyone you're here. That's why they're so one-dimensional. They are more of an environmental hazard rather than an actual foe worth fighting. I think for this game mode to work, they should make them more ruthless. In terms of diversity, I'd say they're already pretty diverse. We have the recruits, commanders, grenadiers, ghosts, and snipers. Those can work for a start, as it's not about the UESC itself, it's how they utilize them. Closed darker areas, you put ghosts. Wide open areas, snipers. In terms of supplies and loot, I honestly wouldn't complicate it with the whole separate the vaults for PvE and PvPvE. Anything you find can be kept. But salvage can go to purple only, and that's if you make it to the last and most difficult point of interest. You gotta work for that shit. We ain't giving it out for free. What I described is something I feel Bungie could make in Season 2, or at least a little scaled down version of it. As for future seasons, who the fuck knows? I see people are very against raids such as Cryo Archive going PvE only, and I seriously doubt it ever will. But hey, you win some, you lose some. But for real, I genuinely don't care what they make as long as the game is fun and reasonably challenging. Oftentimes Marathon players say that we want PvE because we want an easy, no-brainer free loot experience. To which I call bullshit and false. If the PvE just turns out to be perimeter with nothing changed other than no enemy teams, that shit's gonna be hella boring and I guarantee you no one will be playing that for long. I'm willing to bet, just like me, other PvE players like a challenge. I like when the game pushes back, but it has to do so in a fun and reasonable way. In Marathon, and I'm speaking for myself here, the game doesn't push back, it punishes. And it punishes harshly with too little of a reward to feel worthwhile. Like I said in my video about players leaving Marathon, there has to be a fine balance where the low lows match the high highs. With PvE or even PvP light, as they said, I believe they can make a game that pushes back against the player but doesn't leave them feeling like they either wasted their time or like the experience was simply tiring. And on that note, I leave you here. But before I do, tell me, what do you want from a PvE experience in Marathon? Leave your ideas in the comments and stay safe out there, folks.